Hey guys, happy Thursday, and today we're going to read chapter 7 of Mr. Cooper is Super. I hope that everybody is enjoying the book so far, and I hope that we are all creating that image in our mind and really visualizing the story, because we know how important it is to use our imagination and make sure that we are just developing that part of our brain, because it's so important to use your imagination, to be creative, and to, when you're reading, just be able to develop that basically movie in your mind. So, last thing we read was chapter 6, and we got to know Mr. Cooper a little bit more than we did before. So, all the kids basically seem like they believe that he's a superhero. So that's kind of what's happening so far. Again, thank you for those that are responding to the videos. It's so important just to give your feedback. I want to know what you think and maybe what you felt about that chapter or what you're thinking about will happen next. So it's really, really important. Just like the conversations we would have in class, but we just have to kind of be flexible and do it virtually now. And you guys are rocking it out. So, chapter 7 is Rat Man. We were all thinking about enormous pink elephants wearing tutus, holding little umbrellas and singing, "John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt." Mr. Cooper told us he would be back in a minute, and he stepped out of the room. Me and Michael and Ryan got up and shook our butts at the class. Everybody laughed except for Andrea and Emily, who just rolled their eyes. A minute later, Mr. Cooper came running back into the room. This time, he almost knocked over the computer in the corner and fell down again. Man, for a superhero, Mr. Cooper falls down a lot. He was wearing a different costume this time. There was a big R on his cape. He also had a wedge of cheese hanging off his belt. That was weird. "Behold," he announced, "I am Rat Man." "Rat Man?" I said. "I thought you were Cooper Man." "That must have been some other guy," said Mr. Cooper. "I am Rat Man, and I have come to teach you about rats." "What? Rats? Why do we have to learn about rats?" Andrea asked. "I think rats are disgusting." "No, they are not," said Mr. Cooper as he stepped back into the hallway and came back with a big cage in his hand. "Rats are fascinating animals." "Eek!" screamed all the girls except for Alexia. "He has live rats! Gross!" "Cool!" yelled all the boys and Alexia. "Male rats are called bucks," Mr. Cooper said as he took out one of the rats from the cage and petted it. "Females are called does, and babies are called kittens or pups, but I call this one Wilbur." The girls were freaking out, but Wilbur didn't seem all that scary to me. Mr. Cooper told us that rats are smart, friendly, and social. When a rat gets sick, its rat friends will even take care of it. He told us lots of other neat stuff about rats, too. "Do you want to pet Wilbur?" asked Mr. Cooper. "No!" shouted all the girls. "Yes!" shouted all the boys. "Oh, come on," said Mr. Cooper. "I bet at least one of the girls must be brave enough to pet Wilbur." "I'll do it," said Little Miss Perfect, who will do anything to impress a teacher. Andrea scrunched up her eyes, and Mr. Cooper carefully put Wilbur in her hands. "See? Wilbur really likes you," said Mr. Cooper. That's when the most amazing thing in the history of the world happened. Andrea must have twitched or something, because Wilbur jumped off her hand, landed on the floor, and ran away. "Eek!" everybody shrieked. Wilbur ran toward the back of the room. "Calm down, everyone," said Mr. Cooper. "Please calm down." There's a loose rat in the class. Do you want to pet Wilbur? Whoops. My bad. I need to flip the page. Run for your lives! We were all freaking out. It was just a rat. What's the big deal? I'll get him, said Andrea. Everybody was running around like the earth had been hit by an asteroid or something. Half the class was chasing Wilbur, and the other half of the class was running away from him. Finally, Andrea cornered Wilbur in the corner. Wilbur looked at Andrea. Wilbur looked at me. Put your lunchbox over him, Arlo, said Andrea. She calls me by my real name because she knows I don't like it. I'm not putting my lunchbox over a rat, I told her. Why don't you put your lunchbox over him? I don't have my lunchbox today, Andrea said. I'm buying lunch in the vomitorium. Well, use your pencil case, I told Andrea. I'm not putting my pencil case over a rat, she replied. Why don't you use your pencil case? We went back and forth like that for a while. Wilbur was still cornered in the corner. He looked nervous. And you'll never believe who walked into the door at that moment. Nobody. It would hurt if you walked into a door, but you'll never believe who walked into the doorway. It was Mr. Klutz. How are you kids? He asked. Everybody started staring at Mr. Klutz. We're learning about rats, said Mr. Cooper, but one of them seems to have escaped. You brought live rats to the school with you? Asked Mr. Klutz. Are you out of your mind, Mr. Cooper? Is this any way to teach the children? Sure it is, Mr. Cooper replied. See, AJ and Andrea are totally engaged. Ooh, Ryan said. AJ and Andrea are engaged. When are you two going to get married? Asked Michael. If those guys weren't my best friends, I would hate them. And that was the end of chapter 7. So chapter 8 is the attack of Super Librarian. So I want you guys now, since we learned a little bit about Mr. Cooper some more in this last chapter, I want you to respond either with a comment of what you think about him or what you think about anything that just happened in this last chapter, or what do you think will happen next? Okay, I hope you guys have a wonderful day today. I miss you.